great to see you, Eric. We would love to learn more about how you started with Airbnb. So I think I asked you earlier, you were serving tables 2 years ago, and now you have over 55 units. So tell us how you started and how did you progress so fast?
Absolutely. I came to the state back in 2011 from Taiwan. First thing I did, I went to work at Din Tai Fung right away. It's a dumpling restaurant, right? So I knew that as an immigrant, like I need to take care of myself and not use money from Taiwan. Because in Taiwan, whatever we make there is 3 times over here, right? So I can't have my parents' money over there and paying me, which is 3 times as much for expenses. So I immediately went to work, the closest restaurant, which is Din Tai Fung, which we have over here in UTC, right? So we started working there, and then I've been working for actually 7 years before I actually left. I got into real estate, and doing real estate time, I make a lot of money since I was fortunate enough to speak Mandarin. And then COVID hits. Most of my clients are from overseas, and then money was very, very hard to get to the States. So that whole year, I didn't have any transaction on my real estate commission. So I'm like, what do I do now? Before that, I actually tried multiple different side hustles, like, YouTube automation, Amazon, e-commerce, dropshipping, all of that. I've done it. I tried it. I don't say I failed it, but it was taking a lot of my time. And then one of my mentors told me that you need to do something that is similar to what you're originally doing. Real estate, and I got myself into Airbnb. So I have an investment property that I have down in the city of Orange. And then it happens that my tenant actually left. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to try these things out. And little did I know that I was thinking maybe I just make $1,000 a month profit. And that first month I make $4,000 profit. I'm like, this is the sign from God. I need to start doing this. And that's how I actually started.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So how did you get from 1 unit to 55 units? That's a lot.
So I was fortunate enough because I was in the real estate industry. I already have a lot of trusted clients that already bought from me for their investment properties. So I pretty much just reached out to all my past clients and then just started from there. And then, one referred another one referred another one. The word of mouth is spread very, very, very fast. And that's how I scale it.
That's great. And most Airbnb coaches do units like apartment units. So it's easy to get 10 units in one building or even more. And you say you are doing single family homes. So how do you teach your students to get the homes? Because you have connections, your past clients that you sold home to. So you have connections. How a person can get so many homes if they don't have connections?
Absolutely. You want to go ahead and create a professional business website, right? Whatever we're doing live in business, you got to be presentable. You can't just go out to them and tell them you do Airbnb, right? So we pretty much say corporate housing, and we want to be very, very transparent and honest in what we do. So I will teach all my students on how to really establish and create a website, actually how to talk to the landlord, understand their pain points. What is it that they need from you that other long-term tenant can do? For example, right? We always clean the house on time. You can always check the property anytime you want. And then any repairs we'll take care of ourselves, because in order for our business to run, it's relying on a lot of maintenance. And if we just keep relying and asking the landlord to fix all these stuff, we can't even book out the properties, right? So it's our priority to get the house always in a good condition. And there's a lot of other points. Like, for example, we're in California, right? We have the tenant-friendly states. If you just pinpoint that to the landlord, telling that, imagine you have a tenant that doesn't pay rent, you're completely screwed. Yeah. Just having that pain point itself, it kind of already sold them on this idea of corporate housing.
Now, are you doing most of the calls with the landlords, meetings with the landlords? Do you have someone on your team doing this? And is it over the phone, or usually do you prefer to meet in person?
So at the very start, I was actually meeting them in person because, you want to really interact with them. So they actually know you, right? So one funny story, I was actually at one of the property. There was so many people looking at the property, right? But it happened that the landlord was also Taiwanese as well. That was the only reason that he rented out to me. Out of all the other tenants up there, that was the only reason. So it's about connection, right? Really building that rapport with the landlord. Like, hey, are you a Laker fan? Yes, I'm a Laker fan too. So they will remember you more. So when you call them back and tell them what you do, they will prefer to rent to you over other people. Because again, landlord, we're all emotional people. You connect with people that you like the most. So that's how I was to really get more units by building that trust.
Yeah, that makes sense because, like Katrina was saying, a lot of Airbnb hosts are doing apartments where you're dealing with like the receptionist or the property manager, and it's very corporate.
Yeah.
Versus single family home. It's more emotional because these are mom and pop owners. Each one is so different, right? So trying to find that connection between the two. That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm. Well, my question would be a lot of properties right now on the market. As in San Diego, we don't know Orange County that much. The rent is so premium that the margins are really slim. It's not as good as it used to be. So, do you negotiate rent, or how do you make sure you optimize the margins and you are not even actually losing money if you're subleasing?
Absolutely. So I always tell my student, right, before you rent out a property, we want to make sure all the numbers is correct. We're not going to go ahead and just rent out any houses that landlord approved, because at the end of the day, everything we do is calculate the risk, right? Before we get into the property, we already have to know the numbers. And if the number makes sense, then we go for it. And then what I see from the Airbnb industry is that a lot of people, they don't really invest into the business. When I say invest into the business, they don't put good quality furnitures, right? And they don't have good professional photo shoots. Those two are a very, very key important thing for your Airbnb to get rent out. Because that's the first thing they see before they book the property, right? And of course, we have another one, the pricing strategy. That's also very, very important. So out of those three stuff, most Airbnb hosts, they don't have all of these. If you have all of these, I could charge $1,000 each night when some of you is only charging $300, $400 a night. By optimizing the listing, understanding the SEO, and also good quality shots, and of course the furniture as well.
So do you have someone go in there and do the interior design, or is there someone on your team who does that for you?
So I originally come from the real estate background, so I sell a lot. I was fortunate enough, I have the eye for good furnitures, and I sell luxury real estate. So I see a lot of these kind of stuff. So at the start, I was saving money. I was doing it myself, buying the closest things to the, RH, all these kind of Roachable boys, those kind of furnitures. Yeah. I'll try to find the closest one from Amazon and just furnish it. Yeah. But that was taking so much of my time. It wasn't worth my time after I have it all units after. So I have staging company that I work with. So staging company essentially mean that I sell houses. The house is empty. The staging company will have the designer come in, and I will borrow furniture from them to put into the property and take pictures and sell it. And then once it's sold, they take the furniture out. So these staging company, they constantly have a bunch of reused furniture that they want to get rid of because there's always new trend coming out. So they have a 20,000 square foot warehouse with a bunch of old furnitures. So I can negotiate a deal with them, so I will just buy the furniture from them for a lot cheaper. The moving company cost is a lot cheaper because they already have people they already work with. So I get everything a lot cheaper than other people out there. And then with design, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Wow.
Have you ever had a bad month? At least one of your units didn't cash flow ever?
Actually, no, never. Because I have one that didn't cash flow. It wasn't because I didn't make money on Airbnb. It was because when I first started out that was when I was first starting out. It was during summertime, and then we didn't charge them extra for the heating fee. And then they were using the heating for 24/7 hour. My utility bill was $1,000, $1,200. I still remember that. And then also it was overused and it kind of broke down. And then how I was talking to the landlord, I will repair everything myself. So I make money on that month for that whole July time, but I lose money because I had to repair something. So yeah, I would consider that as a loss. But other than that, I don't have any Airbnb that have a loss.
That's great. You also mentioned you help students to do the credit. If somebody can't afford to start the Airbnb business, you teach them. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, absolutely. So as an Asian, we don't really use credit much. And then our parents always tell us, you need to have a good credit, right? And what I realized is in the United States, not a lot of people understand how to really leverage credit. And it's so crucial because any business that you're going to do in your life, having that little boost from credit card and business line of credit is going to help you scale your business very, very fast. So I came, fortunately enough, I understand a little bit about business credit. So I have a pretty good credit score. And I was at around 28 units and I wasn't really using credit. I was using all my own money as well. And I got myself a mentor that teach me how to do credit. And within 6 months, I scaled myself to 55 units because I was just constantly borrowing money from the bank. And then 0% APR, credit card, of course. And then I just max it out, don't pay it, and rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And then I will make the profit back in like 3 to 4 months, right, from arbitrage. And I would just put that back into the next property and just keep doing the same thing. And if I can pay it off, I'll open out another credit card, liquidate that money, and pay this one off. And just keep doing the same thing. So essentially, I'm only paying 3% interest every single year if you really understand how to really do credit hack. Right. So that's a lifesaver for me.
That's great.
Yeah.
And do you do mostly short-term rentals or mid-term rentals? Who are your guests? Are they vacationers or professionals?
I have everything, to be honest. So right now, I don't really do midterm rental, but I will always just post it on like Zillow or like on a separate listing on Airbnb just to get the eyeball, because you have an insurance company that's going to reach out to you, right? Imagine you have a calendar that's completely full 30 days, but you somehow have somebody that booked like only like awkward days. Yeah. The insurance company is not going to be able to see your property. But since I have so many properties, if they reach out to this one, I have other ones available for them. So I'm just opening up more doors for me, like more eyeballs for my listings.
That's why you need double listings always. Yeah. So
now the insurance companies, are you seeking them out? I've heard this is very big right now. A lot of people actually going after the insurance companies, trying to become buddy with a rep in the industry so they can call you. Or is it sort of like they stumble upon your listing and it's luck when they come your way?
I'm not really as professional on the midterm. I'm focusing on short-term rental, but nowadays I'm starting to get, because sometimes midterm rental actually pay out more, especially with the insurance claim. Mm-hmm. So from what I heard is, based on the property value, they could pay out 10% of the property value for every single month for the claims. And a lot of people, we have like other coaches that do midterm rentals. They will tell you to actually buddy with the insurance company. Now there's too many of them, and then they like, don't message me. So at the end of it, it's really just supply and demand. I think the hardest part about insurance claim is insurance will constantly reach out to a bunch of property nearby that that needs a claim, but you'll realize that at the end of the day, it's the tenant that decide if they want to rent out that property. If they don't like it, if you just talk to the insurance, it doesn't work. So that's why I'm always stressing to all my students, everybody out there, like, you got to make sure your furniture is on point and your photography is on point, even for midterm rental as well, because people only like your property. They look at first impression, like the preview. So you want to make sure that is very, very good, so you could always be the top 1%.
And so maybe it just made me think of another question. Maybe this has to do with it, but I read a statistic not too long ago that about 40% of all hosts have entered the Airbnb space since COVID in the past 2 years, which is a crazy number, right? So I think there's this huge craze on social media about it, right? Everyone's jumping in. They feel like it's a great opportunity. So it's, us as hosts, we have to sort of elevate our experience, because how do you stand out amongst the rest of the hosts, right? So is there anything specific you do in this highly competitive landscape to stand out now that there's so many more hosts and properties on Airbnb?
There's so much small details in Airbnb, right? You guys know us as well. We have so many people that think this business model is very easy. They rent out a property, furniture with a bunch of random ass, furniture, and they think they will make money. But that's not how it works, right? You want to do dynamic pricing with price high for future, do minimum stays, do some discount for if you do over a certain stay amount, right? There's a lot of in-depth knowledge. Also, again, I was stressing, the photos and furniture, that's very, very important. And also the amenity that you provide. So based on the location, for example, if it's near Anaheim, we have Disneyland people, right? So what do? People are here for vacation. They come here once in a lifetime, or maybe like every year, from maybe Florida, New York, or anything. And we focus on the luxury properties. The reason for that is there's so many different type of people that use Airbnb, right? I was in the luxury real estate industry. I would not want to sell a house to somebody that's only buying a $600K house. I wouldn't want to sell a house that somebody's buying a $6 million house, right? And spending the same effort, but my output, my commission is a lot higher. So that's why I'm always telling my students, like, always do the luxury, because that's actually where you make the most money. Because the people that spend top dollars, if there's 50 Airbnb nearby in this area, right? Most of them, to be honest, it's going to be like okay-ish property, which they're charging $300, maybe $400 per night. But there's only maybe like 5 to maybe 7 actually luxury ones. And we want to meet those criteria for those luxury people that want to travel. So we're just competing with getting 5 to 7 people only. And if you could provide the best amenity and good photos, they're going to rent out your house. Money is not important to them, right? They want experience and lifestyle. So if you could provide that, that's how you make money. And also, it's harder to get into the luxury space, right? You got to spend a lot of money on rent and a lot of money on furniture as well. So when there's less competition, there's more money to be made. So that's my thought on that.
Yeah, that's true. I like that you mentioned, for example, Disney. So you get all the properties next to the Disney. That's how you attract guests to book. If your student lives in Ohio, how can they make money if there are no attractions? What would you tell them?
I always tell him, like, we're now in the technology day where everything can be done through FaceTime, right? There's, TaskRabbit, there's Thumbtack, there's Yelp, Yellow Page, what you say if you're like more traditional, right? There's always ways for you to remotely do everything, right? And I always tell them, like, go where the money's at. You don't want to, because you're in Ohio doesn't mean you have to do Airbnb in Ohio. You could do it here. You don't have to do it over there, right? I was a student in Vancouver. I mean, Vancouver is kind of like, seasonal. Yeah. I told him, like, don't do Vancouver. Go where the money's at, SoCal. So right now, they currently have 8 units right now, and it's all in SoCal, and they've never even seen the property before. So that's pretty much how we do it. We teach them how to do it remotely.
That's great. Do you have any more questions?
Well, in terms of doing it remotely, do you teach your students systematically, like software, cameras, the smart locks, everything like that? I assume you have some sort of system to get them up and running remotely.
Yeah, so camera for sure. I want to make sure there's no party, because that's the number one complaint we always have, especially with our neighbors. If we have a bad neighbor, then it's going to ruin the whole experience, and then they might report to the city, etc. So camera is very, very important. Minute device, so you could detect the sound level, and also you just have to have a very, very good cleaner. Cleaner is on the front of the battlefield, because they're the one that see the property and clean the property, so they know what's going on. So if you could pay well and treat them well, they will stay with you forever. And they are the core of the business, actually. Without them, my business won't work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about your team. So you have 55 units, and you said your schedule is flexible. You have all this free time. So tell us about your team, how many people you have, and how you trust them to run your business.
Absolutely. So when I was at around 28 units, I was using internal.com, to find cleaners. So it happens that the cleaner I use right now is that I'm actually part equity owner. I actually have a cleaning company myself as well, because I might as well, right? I have 55 units. I might as well just make another business. So I'm actually slowly helping them scale as well. So all my students are actually using them for cleaning as well, which we know we get a better rates and also top quality cleaning. So what was the question again? I forgot.
Yeah, your team. So you have cleaning service on your team. Who else? Like co-host, management,
virtual assistants.
Yeah.
Yes. So for virtual assistant, I have 2 virtual assistants that take care of everything for me, and they're from the Philippines. I'm paying them around $1 an hour to do everything. It's a lifesaver. I'm telling everybody, like, any business that we're going to be doing, we need to allocate our labor out to not in the state, because people here are stupid, they're dumb, and they don't work hard, right? So why pay people here $15 an hour when we can pay people $1 an hour over there, right? And they are the best people. Yeah, they're so hardworking, and they do everything for you, and they love working as well. So I just have my virtual assistants that communicate with all the guests, and they actually are the one that communicate with the cleaner as well. I do have like a handyman or 2 handyman on standby. So the virtual assistant will reach out to a handyman as well. So I'm completely out of the business unless it's like a very, very emergency stuff. Then they will kind of reach out to me and call me, and I will kind of make the actually CEO decision. Other than that, I just have fun.
So yeah, what if you have an emergency, like somebody's checking in and the lock is not working, right? Like smart lock is not opening. Who do they contact and how do they get in? Is there some emergency person that can help your guest?
Yeah, absolutely. So everything's to trial and errors. When we're doing a checking instruction or like a house menu, we want to treat the guest as somebody that's very, very dumb, right? You want to dumb it down.
You
so
should not share it online.
Yeah. So you get what I mean. So every single step, how to press,
Right.
how to press that little arrow, and how to open. simplify as much as possible, because just by doing that will save you a lot of trouble on communicating with them, right? And then if they really can't do it, then we'll just send somebody over there out there, and then I'm gonna charge the guest for it. I mean, they're the one that's not figuring it. I mean, of course, if it's their own fault, because sometimes you will communicate with them. Just go to the breaker, turn it off, and put it back on. Yeah, I tried it, it doesn't work. Okay, fine, I will find somebody over. And I find somebody over, and I asked the handyman, so what happened? Oh, you just had to turn it on and put it back on. I told the guests, but they just don't do it, and they just assume that it's our fault all the time. So I will usually just hire somebody over there, and then whatever invoices, I'll just charge the guests. Yeah, and then if they decline it, I'll just go through Airbnb claim, and I still get that money. Yeah.
Do you have a dedicated mechanic or maintenance guy on your team, or is it just different? When the time comes, you find someone who can come as soon as possible.
So I don't think I have a dedicated one, but I also do real estate. I do house flipping as well. So I actually have a contracting crew that I actually own myself. So whenever somebody is free, I'll just tell them to go. So, but of course, they have other jobs to do. They have their priorities as well. But most of the time, I was able to get people. Yeah, I have like a few on standby as well, like on a contact list where my VA can just call. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm sure people would love to hear the numbers, because everything sounds great, but people love numbers, and that's why they will buy a caution if they see how much you can make. So what would be a good profit margin? Like, let's say you rent a unit at $5,000. What has to be the revenue, all the expenses paid out? What has to be the profit margin to?
So
It's a good unit.
Got it. So a lot of people, it really depends on how much the input is, how about the output, right? If you have a property that is cost $20,000 to rent, but your profit is only $2,000, it doesn't make sense. It's going to take forever for you to break even. So I usually like, if it's $5,000 to rent, I like to get my revenue to around $10,000 at least, kind of double your rent. Yeah. So that will be the sweet spot for me. And then we use AirDNA and all the different kind of platform to kind of calculate if it makes sense or not. And to be honest, AirDNA, Matchvisor, all these kind of platform, the number is so not accurate. It's so bad, because 80% of people, they don't know what they're doing. They're not pricing it right. So they're actually dropping the average down. So every time I tell my student, use AirDNA as a worst case scenario. That's worst case. If it's still worst case, you still make money, go for it. That's kind of like how I kind of structure it. Yeah.
So if you don't use AirDNA, what's your best strategy for determining how is this property a good fit for our portfolio?
So I kind of like do like an enemy method. I kind of like look at comps and have them go through nearby listing and see how much they're charging on the weekend and also on the weekdays, and you can kind of get an understanding. And then a lot of people, out there, they always say, "What is your occupancy? What's your occupancy?" Like, I don't care about occupancy. Like, that's not my priority. My priority is revenue, right? I could have every day rented out for $100 a night. That's $3,000 revenue, or I could just rent out 10 days for $800 a night. That's you get what I mean. So people that are not really in the industry, or people that just got started, they're more focusing on on the occupancy, right? So they will charge all of the price very, very low just to get it occupied. But by doing that, you're missing out a lot of money. You're leaving a lot of money on the table. Because if I know my property is very, very good, I could charge very, very high, and I'm not afraid it's not going to get booked out, right? And then people are charging 200, I'm charging 400. So their two nights compared to my one night. And then slowly, as time gets closer, I start adjusting the price. I still get my property completely occupied, but with the higher revenue, because I'm charging double or maybe triple what people are charging. You just have to really understand how to do it. So a good operator and a bad operator, same listing, I could make $3,000, $4,000 extra on top just by applying the right strategy, the right pricing strategy. Right. Yeah.
Well, a lot of people are familiar with the 80-20 principle, and I'm just curious from your perspective, and especially having this team, what is the 20% that you focus on that produces your 80% results?
Communicating. I mean, the core of the business is not for you to run the business yourself. It's for you to oversee all the people that's under you, and, giving them some mindset stuff, hey, you're doing well, congrats. Like, I just recently onboarded a VA, and then, she haven't really started working for me yet, but like, and she was telling me, hey, is it okay if I could, get paid first, because I'm actually doing a Christmas, event with my kids. I mean, to them, like, $500 is a lot of money, right? Because they're from the Philippines. I'm like, here you go, $500, this is for you, do what you got to do, have fun. But, end of the year, when you can actually come work with me, that's when we actually start, turning it up and actually start making money together, right? And I also give a lot of bonus to my VAs. And it's not a lot of money, but to them it's a lot. And then they appreciate that. Just by giving that gesture of giving out, and then they will stay with you forever.
Builds that loyalty.
Exactly. You want to build that loyalty. It's very hard for people over here. Yeah.
That's great. Interesting, like you said, the occupancy is not relevant for you. I am obsessed with occupancy. So, like, if we rent properties, like all the weekends are booked, and it's just there is no traffic on weekdays. We still make money, but I hate to be vacant on weekdays, and we don't want to lower the price a lot because then we'll attract some bad people. So what we do, we just have bunch of listings, and we rent rooms separate. Like we would rent a master bedroom at a premium, that way there is only 2 people stay on property, but they still pay premium, and maybe in another wing of the property another couple stays, and that way they don't throw a party. We have access to the property, and we maximize, and it's not our main profit, but I like maximizing. I hate when it's vacant.
Yeah, I totally agree. So it's funny because when I first started out, I was actually doing any property that I find, even apartment, like broken, damaged apartments. And then that's actually when I would learn the most. So I was actually renting out individual rooms. That was when I first started out, right? My second unit, I was doing that. Oh, so much work, so much communication, this break, and then I didn't have a whole team. I was doing everything myself. Roof leak, the water started dripping down. I was there wiping everything myself, right? That was so painful for that whole entire month. And that's where I decided I don't want to do individual rooms. Because it's too much communication. I mean, back in the days, I was doing everything myself. I was a one-man show. This guy does not like this guy. This guy doesn't clean the kitchen. This guy smells. You had to share the bathroom. Like, oh, so much work. Why am I doing that? Why am I dealing with that, right? I'm like, F it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to rent an entire room. And that's the best decision ever.
Yeah. I mean, if it's a 4-bedroom house, right? Instead of dealing with one party booking the whole house, now you're dealing with 4 parties, 4 times the communication, 4 times the check-in, 4 times the wear and tear. So it's definitely a pros and cons thing.
But it's amazing if it's working out for you like this, the whole unit's occupied, at least maybe 80% occupancy is good.
It's pretty decent, I would say.
Yeah, it's good. You have more questions? Is there anything else you think you should cover?
Anything else? Let me think. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, just really, we could talk about more about mindset stuff, how you guys need to take action for your students as well. Like you guys really just start doing something. There's so much free knowledge out there, right? Just consume it and start. Because if you don't start that first step, you're never getting anywhere. You're gonna be stuck at your 9 to 5 all the time, right? That's pretty much what it is. Take action. Yeah.
Is there anything you do every single day for your mindset, or any rituals or books? What do you recommend?
I don't really read books, but I watch a lot of Alex Hormozi stuff. And when I'm working out, I will listen to his stuff, and then maybe like Tony Robbins a little bit. But a lot of times it's just me talking to a lot of people a lot better than me. Like kind of like you guys, right? I like talking to people that's a lot better than me. Maybe not in my field, but maybe in like other field, like commercial, real estate, syndication, REITs, anything like that. Just talking to them. Like most of my friends right now is online friends. Right? I mean, I still have a lot of close friends, but I don't really hang out with them as much because my time and priority is more on learning more stuff, because you can only get better. That's why we always need mentors, right? I have a mentor for my social media. I have a mentor on my coaching. I have a mentor on my self-development. There's different stuff we have to learn. We always want to understand we are not the best we are. We always have to learn new stuff. And I just enjoy that. Like ever since I started doing coaching myself and also got coaching from other people, I'm so addicted to it. Whenever I have any question or I'm stuck somewhere, for example, credit stuff, I pay somebody to teach me. Whatever they learn in 5 years, 10 years, in 1 month, I learn everything. I pay a high price, but they guide me through everything. It's a fast track, it's a hack, it's a life hack.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm like, every time, okay, now I'm stuck with my tax stuff. Right? What do I do? Find a tax guy. Teach him. Teach me how to avoid. I mean, not avoid tax, but how to really
minimize
your
of course.
tax.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what's your goal for 2024? Are you acquiring more units? What's for you plan? What's planned for you?
My goal is to actually to inspire and influence the Asian Americans, on really getting out of the 9 to 5 mindset, because that's a traditional mindset people always have. To really inspire them on how to really understand the credit, how to work smart, not work hard, and create a bunch of free program, actually free training for people. So, they could really understand the taste of actually entrepreneurship. I mean, it's not for everybody, but, as much as I can help people out, that's actually my goal. And also get into more real estate development, tiny homes, cabins and stuff.
Right.
And yeah, that's pretty much what I want to focus on.
That's great. Did you also mention you already own your own properties, or?
Yes, so I have a few properties that I own in SoCal, 3 properties, and then I'm currently buying out of states, in like North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia. We're buying houses through sub-to, Pace Morby, subject to and seller financing, because the rate is very, very high right now. I'm actively looking for properties that is distressed or foreclosed, and then buying them, and then converting them either to short-term rental if it makes sense, or putting them into midterm rental for like travel nurses and stuff. Yeah. So that's pretty much my strategy, because I need some tax breaks, right? Because we're making too much cash flow. Yeah.
That's great. Do you have any more questions?
Well, I guess is that like the next step for your business, sort of owning more real estate as opposed to more arbitrage to build that long-term wealth, over.
Yeah, I kind of stop arbitrage now. Like, it just doesn't, like, it's not fun for me anymore, because arbitrage, you kind of had to put in, like 20K, 30K into a property to make money, which is good. But every aspect of life, and I kind of, when I first started on restaurant, I was making $200, $300 tip, cash tip, right? I mean, sorry, not cash tip, but like I was making that much money. Right. I think that was so much money already back in the days. And I got myself into real estate. I'm making commission, 25,000, 30,000 commission. I think, okay, this is the top. I can't do more. Yeah. And I got myself into Airbnb. This, we want the same money, but passively. And of course, I got myself to coaching as well, right? You make good money on coaching, right? And we also inspire and help people out. That's my motivation. Like, just yesterday, I have a meetup with my student. Like, it was so satisfying that everybody's doing well and making money. It's my next goal, like helping people out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And your students find you on your Instagram page?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them at the start, when I started doing this, it was just friends and family that trusted me already. So I was kind of just helping them out. And then now, as I get more people to follow me on social media, and then that's, when they actually reach out to me, and then I just kind of talk to them and see if we can actually work together, because I don't really accept everybody, because if they don't have the right mindset, I don't want to take your money and not, able to execute for you. Yeah.
That's great. Do you want to talk about what's included in your coaching, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so if somebody reaches out, what do you offer to them? How long is it? How many weeks? What do you offer?
Sure. For my coaching program, it's 120 days. And then every week we have 3 coaching calls. So we have Monday and Friday. That's going to be me personally. That's going to go through everything that you need. So we have students coming on, asking questions. So everybody can participate at the same time. And then that's when we go through all the pricing and everything that is necessary and needed. We do also have the course recording for everything that you need, the blueprint that you have lifetime access to, so you can always rewatch it anytime. And on Wednesday, I'm going to have my mentor, my credit mentor, that's going to go on every single week to optimize your credit, help you get good business funding, so you can scale your business through Airbnb Arbitrage, or there's like other hacks to make money as well, right? So that's pretty much what we do. And also, of course, the private community. That's actually where I find the most valuable and joy, because yesterday for my meetup, everybody hear everybody's voice before, right? But never see them in person. So it was very, very exciting. Oh, you're that guy that always asks this kind of question, and they actually meet each other in person. And then everybody's helping everybody out in the community, right? So they have questions, somebody will recommend. And it's like a team, it's like a family that kind of, help each other out and build wealth together.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for this interview. Of course. That was fun.
Where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram. So my name is just Eric Chen, ERICCHEN.
All right.
I bought a handle, by the way.
No, it was great to learn from you. Thanks so much again for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
This is a beautiful place.